Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 2 on our agenda is roll call. Councilors are present and welcome, councilors. And the third item on the agenda is public forum. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard this evening? Just checking that.
Not a resident.
Seeing none, I will close public forum at 7:01. Item 4 is to consider acceptance of minutes, and this evening we have one set for the town council regular session for March 18th, 2026. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve those minutes.
I will make a motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ford. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Lamartine. Any discussion or changes? No, people have it.
Council Glazebrook. Aye. Council Martina. Aye. Council Dornblit. Aye. Council Eagleson. Aye. Council Blackstone. Aye. Council Ward. Aye. Council Conley.
Item 5 is the report of the double G this evening. So I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First thing, and I didn't in my report, there was some question about as you know, the charter was significantly amended this past. So we wanted to determine what's the date of effectiveness of the new charter. It is July 1st, because the law says it's the beginning of the calendar year, and I did things on July 1st. Next item. First item in my written report is DOT, in coordination with the Town Stratford Regional Planning Commission, has completed a road safety audit for the intersection of Route 108 in Bennett Way and Terrace Drive. The audit examined 10-year crash record showing 64 total crashes for the 2 intersections, including 13 injury crashes and 4 involved pedestrians and bicycles. The audit team identified 3 primary safety issues. As I said, pedestrian and bike exposure. There's a wide crossing distance, the bike facilities, insufficient lighting, and vehicle speeds averaging 36, 37 miles an hour against the 30 mile per hour speed limit. Access management, there's high driveway density, creating overlapping conflict points between Bennett Way and Terrace Drive, and site distance constraints with utility poles and signage at the Terrace Drive corner and dual outbound lanes on Bennett Way. VHV, the engineering firm, developed 3 concepts. The first concept is a near term, which is a low cost, high improvements. It's pedestrian warning signs, vegetation clearance, and utility pole consolidation for which again was estimated about $90,000. Longer term, two would eliminate the southbound right turn lane on 108, widen the sidewalk, and curb bump out 3 straight Bennett Way with a single outbound lane. And consolidate Dollar General's driveway access. And finally, a long term would be to convert both intersections to a dog bone mini roundabout configuration with raised median island, forcing right in, right out movements along the corridor. I did attach a copy of the report to my report. Next item is that on March 19th, we received New Hampshire County Administration final rate show study results for tax year 2025. The DRA analyzed valid property sales occurred between October 24 and September 2025, determined the market's current level of assessment. The median ratio is at 90%. We try to be between 95 and 115, but we're still meeting standards. Our equalization ratio is 87.6. Price related differential is 1.02. I gave an explanation what those means. So what's this mean? We're currently assessed at approximately 90% of the market value, indicating market values have appreciated roughly 11% faster than assessments since the last adjustment cycle in 2023. This is a normal pattern between revaluation cycles and does not require immediate action. So the next time we determine statewide property tax, it will be 87.6%. I did give a scenario of what we would look at like over the next 5 years. and optimistic would be at 72.3%. And the final one would be, if we did a revaluation, it would be in 2000, which we're scheduled for 2030. It would in 2031, we would be at 95.7%. So, but we're still on course to do that revaluation in 2030. Only concern to be, if you see in 2029, we're close down to about 80%. Last time we were down to about 76%. So still in that. We're just going to be monitoring for the next few years. We did have a property tax abatement settlement. I did want to let the council know. Following a 2024 BTLA, the Board of Tax and Land Appeals, on the property at 25 Moody Point Road. The BTLA ordered mediation, which was held on March 19th. The property owners, the Chases, had filed the appeal after receiving partial abatement that did not fully address their concerns. Based on the assessor's on-site review and discussion with the property owners during mediation, parties reached a settlement. Under the agreement, the property assessment was reduced by $80,600 from $1,127,200 to $1,046,600. The assessor considered this a reasonable settlement given the circumstances. We then, we always have that overlay. $1,386 plus accrual interest would be refunded for 2024, and $1,565 plus interest for 2025. So nothing the council needs to do, just wanted to make aware. Finally, on my written report, and all councils should have one, to commemorate the Newmarket's 300th anniversary, I'm pleased to introduce a new tradition that a number of communities are trying to do, which is the presentation of commemorative challenge coins. Challenge coins have their origins in the military, where they're used to acknowledge service and foster camaraderie. Over time, this tradition is adopted by public service organizations. Today, municipalities across the nation utilize challenge coins to honor significant contributions, recognize valuable partnerships, and mark important milestones. Typically, challenge coins are either earned or formally presented, so you can't buy them. In our context, these coins may be awarded to individuals who made substantial contributions to the community, partners instrumental in advancing key projects, staff and volunteers who consistently exceed expectations, visiting elected officials or dignitaries, on occasions that signify moments of importance. So we all have one. First group to receive that. That's all I have tonight, Madam Chair.
Questions or comments for the team?
I have two questions. I'll start with the easy one. The Creighton, the Creighton Street property, is it, I know we can't restrict it to people who live in Newmarket, but could we restrict it to people who make it a primary residence? In other words, you can't buy it to rent it?
Yeah, we can make that when it is a condition of sale when we get to that point.
Yeah, if we get to that point, then I'd like to consider that.
Yep.
And then my second question is, this safety audit or whatever, I would like to see, as you know, a crosswalk on Jerry Ave, right? And is that something that the town council gets involved in, or that's something that
the town engineer will first come up with a recommendation, and then we'll go from there to take that. We just can't don't just put a crosswalk out.
Yeah.
Because we need engineer. We make sure it's the correct one in safety.
Right.
But we'll have Lindsay look at it. We'll probably have to look at the entire intersection in Jerry Ave as a whole.
Yeah, I was wondering maybe if concept one could be added, you could add that to concept one, or
I knew that was part of the discussion.
Concept one's a little further down the street.
Right. And when we met, we actually talked about all the way up because of the operations of the railroad track.
Right. Well, I mean, she's got until what, June, July or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a lot of people would like to see that.
Yeah, and I saw that. I saw it today. Somebody was crossing awkwardly in that area. So.
Yeah, because that's where the sidewalk switch is. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure it's a lot cheaper than building a new sidewalk on the other side.
Right.
Really, the biggest concern is the
Yeah.
I use my words. I'm sorry. The crossing the road from one side to the other, that's terribly dangerous for anybody who walks along. I don't know what you think to do about that, but to me, that's
At least you're walking along the same side of the road.
no sense.
I mean, if the cars are going this way, you're going with the cars, or if the cars are going that, where in Jerry Avenue, you're going across traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's definitely a big thing, but I'm just saying
yeah.
that's a big concern for people, walking around.
Well, we could ask.
Other questions or discussions for the town manager regarding his report? Okay. Seeing none, we have no appointments or appointments or resignations or reappointments this evening, so we're going to move right on to committee reports. So that we committee reports. For the Martina.
Energy and environment is part of our reduce, reuse, recycle program. We're going to be participating in a Next Trex Recycling Challenge. Basically, what that is, we're going to have a campaign to collect 500 pounds of plastic bags or plastic coverings in 90 days. And if we meet that goal of 500 pounds in 90 days, we get a Trex park bench that we will donate to the town or the conservation committee to do whatever they want to do, put it anywhere. Also remind the council that on our next meeting, April 15th, 6 o'clock, the executive director of Community Power will be here to talk to the town council. That's all I got.
Other committee reports. Okay. We will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading, and the number is 1. And that's resolution 2025-2026. And that is the adoption of the 2025 multi-hazard mitigation. This time, we'll turn it over to I'm so sorry. And this time, I would accept the motion for the first
Maybe.
reading. And for the board, do I have a second?
I'll say.
Thank you, Councilor Eads. This time, turn it over to
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Council. Bart McDonough, Director of Planning and Community Development. Before you is a resolution to adopt a plan, hazard mitigation plan. Last time it was completed was 2018, and which is typical. So we partnered with Stratford Regional Planning Commission, and we got a grant from the Department of Safety through Homeland Security. To help us update our plan. Pretty straightforward. It just goes over the current plan that we have, and then if there's any updates to it, any additional hazards, it kind of rechecks, with the community on its priorities. So include the plan in your packet. And it was probably it was last spring, probably from January to May or June. And then we had a public comment period as well in the fall, and now it's here before you all for adoption. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have about it.
Yeah, I just want to, Council, this is a step one of a 3-step process that we do. If this gets approved, the next step that we work on with the emergency management team, so it would be the chiefs, the building inspector, myself, Public Works, would be the emergency operations plan, which is a plan that we have that lets us respond to disasters, which this plan tries to solve, but we also have it for other local emergencies. The last time we did that was 2019, so the time is up. I will say the 2019 plan was missing a big chapter on an event that happened in 2020. We did not have a pandemic, that chapter, which will not be included. And the next plan after that would be the continuity of operations plan. Is what do we do if something happens? So, we immediately have that. So this is the first step that we do about every 5 years. So.
Questions in the director, the discussion on this resolution?
Thank you. I just have one question on the risk assessment tool. There's a description of the scores that describes a low score, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and so on and so forth. And then in the chart, there's an overall risk column. And that overall risk column always exceeds the highest score that goes up to 9. And so, for example, inland flooding, there was an overall risk of 12. So I wonder how those numbers are derived, and for a risk of 15, overall risk of 15 for tropical storms and hurricanes. So I wonder how those are derived, or what that column in particular means, because it's not.
Is that table 10? I'm saying?
Table 10, risk
Okay.
assessment tool, that's correct, on page 25.
Yeah, so the far right column, overall risk, yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
So all
Yeah.
the scores are in that range from 1 to 9. But then
I see, because in the table above it says high risk 7 to 9, and then 12.
I don't remember how we got to
Yeah.
that number. It's not a sum, so I
don't remember.
Yeah,
We can find out, like, you know.
Well, I don't know the sum, but these events that have happened. I'm looking at it right now: flooding, inland flooding, very high in Newmarket. So maybe there's an added weighted something to it.
You can find out.
We can find out too. I don't want to misspeak, but just looking at yeah, no, that'll be a follow up. I can happy to provide the council.
Other questions? For the record or discussion?
So on table 29, there's a list of the projects and timeframes. There's quite a few that are in current or year 1. And it looks like there's a significant amount of money that's going to be required over the next 5 years.
It's much like the capital improvement plan. It's a goal.
Yeah.
We're not
requesting
it.
Fast that we have to stick to that.
Sorry, I'm just going through the table. Sorry. But yeah, it was similar to what the town manager. It's more we're working towards that aspirational. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but we're being realistic on the cost. Right.
The most important part of that now that we think is too is this allows us to apply for grants and
Yes.
pay for those things through FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have this as well, we cannot put in for FEMA assistance if we had a new
It's just any FEMA money.
as well. Yeah.
Correct.
Other questions or discussion on this?
I know this is a very rare occurrence, but still happened in Ohio with the meteorite first aid.
Is there anything?
No, I'm more about something, any sort of thing where something like that where no one's hurt, but a lot of people are stopping, probably going to be not going to be crashing, but people looking up at the sky, maybe not looking, going, is that in there somewhere? I feel very silly that I brought it up.
So that would be actually fall under emergency operations plan. Okay. Is if there was some sort of situation like in mass traffic situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, one of the things that they planned for recently through an emergency operations plan was that in one country just doesn't have a safety staff. They
Clips, yeah.
because they didn't have the staff to handle all people. That's the kind of stuff that we would be planning for the next plan. Because what happens if there's a large? We may more apt to say what happens if any train carrying chemicals were to shut down 108. What if that's the next round of it? And to be quite honest, that's not a public document because there's things in there that enlighten. This is the top one, such as if there is a school shooting, if there is a mass casualty event that we have to discuss that we don't have the public, the general public not know. So you may not see those, but we do
there's a response plan that is not public.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not expecting it, but I literally just read a bit about like solar storms and stuff that's in here.
Yes.
And I just thought,
Yeah.
Just, I do want to add, very impressive, very extensive document. Good job.
Thank you. It was a team effort, so really, yeah. Thank you.
Other questions or discussion on the
Council Gettysburg. Aye. Council Medina.
Aye.
Council Bromwood. Aye. Council Eagleson. Aye. Council Blackburn.
Aye.
Council Ward. Aye. Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to resolutions and ordinances in the first reading, and this evening there is one. There's resolution 2025-2026-37. That is the Newmarket Public Library Youth Replace. Whereas Article 16 of the 1989 municipal election established a capital reserve fund pursuant to RSA Chapter 35 for the future expansion and related renovations to the Newmarket Public Library. And whereas Resolution 2024-2025-29, Library Architectural Feasibility Study, authorized the expenditure of a portion of such funds to conduct an assessment and proposal for the interior renovations of the Newmarket Public Library building. And whereas concerns of the condition of the library's slate roof prompted a review of the existing condition of the untiled roof to be conducted in fall of 2025. And whereas the study has indicated 2 roof areas needing repair, but the other repairs needed to the west and north chimneys of the historic building should proceed the roof repair work. And whereas a roofing condition report identified 2 areas needing to repair for a total cost estimate of $5,925. This report included findings that masonry repair on the 2 chimneys is also required. A masonry proposal has been received with a cost estimate of $19,308. The combined work of masonry and chimney repair followed by roof repair would come to $25,233. And whereas there is an unknown factor in the chimney repair that will not become evident until the demolition of the condition of the interior liner material, as well as the actual condition of the brickwork below, an obvious fracture line in the north chimney, a contingency estimate for materials and installation of 10 feet of flex liner as needed would add $7,865 to the masonry chimney proposal. Therefore, should existing conditions exceed the needs of the traditional roof, the combined total for the roofing chimney repairs would come to $33,098. Whereas the library capital reserve fund has a balance of $110,160.30 as of January 31st, 2026. Now, therefore, of the Town Council that the Newmarket Town Council does hereby approve the expenditure of up to $33,098 from the library reserve fund to complete required repairs in the Newmarket Public Library building envelope. Sponsored by Chair Carney by request. First reading April 1st, 2026. And with that, we will move on to new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to be to the Town Council to be read into the record this evening? Okay. Then at this point, we will move on to closing comments by Town Councilors. Are there any closing comments?
yeah, I just like to announce that Newmarket Cemetery Day was so successful last year. We're going to be doing again this year. On May 17th, we'll be going to Burley Cemetery on Bald Hill, it's on Bald Hill Road in Newmarket. It is near 10 and Bald Hill Road, but that is a house, not the cemetery itself, so people don't wind up at there. But yeah, we are looking forward to it. It will be from 9 to 2. We'll be there cleaning up, breaking leaves, trimming back brush, moving invasive plants. And that evening from 6 to 8:30, we will be at the Polish American Club, where the Historical Society will give a presentation on Newmarket history and the cemetery's history itself. And there is a Facebook page that I badly made, but it is up. It is online. I put it on the What the Hell's Going On in community page. So if anyone's interested, please sign up.
Can you remind me?
May 17th.
And what's the time again?
Service is
And work at the cemetery is from 9 to 2, and anyone can come to the presentation later. That's going to be at 6 to 8:30 at the Polish American Club.
Other closing comments by Councilor Suzuki? Councilor Lombardi?
This Monday, coming Monday, April 6th, 7 p.m. downstairs, there's going to be a presentation on the weir. I would encourage counselors to attend, because I think it's going to be in the not too distant future that's going to come up before the council about the future of the weir. So it might be good to have some background on it. And Saturday, April 4th, 8:30 a.m. at the Community Center in Leo LaRoche Field is the Easter Excellent Fun Hunt. That's all I got.
What was the time again for the weir?
7 p.m.
Yeah, it's not in the newsletter. You see that in the newsletter?
Thank you, Councilor Lombardi. Other closing comments? Councilor Black?
So I attended the grand opening of the 300 movie presentation a couple days ago that Newmarket made, and it was very well attended. There must have been 100 people there, and good cookies and donuts as well. And we saw the movie, and then there was a discussion, and there was a poster. There was a presentation of the people. It was very well attended.
Thank you. Other closing comments? Councilor Lombardi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Councilor Eagleson for his service and for stepping in on short notice, so to speak. I want to wish you luck for the next service project that you undertake, which hopefully will be not too far from here. And thank you. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Other closing comments? My only closing comment this evening is to echo Councilor Dunbar's sentiments. Councilor Eagleson, we are so very grateful for your service to the town and your presence on the council. You've been a event, and we will miss you, and we're so grateful. Newmarket is better because people like you roll up your sleeves and they engage, and we encourage you to continue to do so. I'd like to present you with this as an extraordinarily small token of appreciation. But thank you so much. Okay, our next meeting is April 15th, 2026 at 7 p.m. 6 p.m. will be a pre-meeting for the community power presentation. And see, there are no objections. I will consider us adjourned. Thank you very much, Councilor.